Hello and welcome to this video in which we're going to discover all the underwear of the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos. A little over 20 years ago, no one knew his name. Today, he has become the richest man in the world thanks to a company that has become a global giant. Who is really the boss of Amazon, and how did he manage to build his incredible success? That's what we're about to tell you. But just before you do, make sure you subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. The beginnings of a visionary. Jeff Bezos, real name Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen, was born in Albuquerque on January 12, 1964, in the state of New Mexico. Abandoned by his biological father shortly after birth, he grew up, raised by his mother and second husband, Miguel Bezos, who adopted him and treated him like his son. From a very young age, little Jeff shows signs of intelligence that far exceeds that of other children. In order for them to develop, his parents entrust him to a school Montessori as soon as she started kindergarten. These alternative schools follow the educational method of Dr. Maria Montessori, a proponent of child education. Free and autonomous in a stimulating environment. A competitor born. He already takes great pleasure in taking up all possible and imaginable challenges, such as this famous week during which he reads in one go some 12 books in order to win a bet made with a classmate. He was only 9 years old at the time. While in high school, he took science classes at the University of Florida, where he eventually won a prestigious award, the Silver Knight Award. His intelligence easily opened the doors of one of the most prestigious American universities, the one at Princeton. The man who was to become the richest man in the world studied physics there before turning to computers that he's more passionate about. After graduation, he worked for several companies of the finance and telecommunications sector. In 1990, he was recruited by Schmen Companies, an investment fund specializing in new technologies. Jeff Bezos begins to think about the opportunities that the internet can offer. The Amazon adventure. It's the early 90s and the internet is starting to grow. The conditions of the famous bubble that will burst, taking the markets with it a few years later, are beginning to take shape as a real rush to the gold is on its way. Bezos refuses to stay behind. He gave up his job in 1994 and left for Seattle with the ambition of founding the world's largest online bookstore. It will be called Amazon. In the image of the greatest river on the planet on July 16, 1995, the Amazon service is finally operational. The site sells its first book. If its founder chose to turn it into a bookstore, it is because the web allows pushing back the limits of traditional businesses, which can only offer a limited number of titles, when its company's own catalog makes it possible to offer an infinite number of books for sale at a lower cost. The young company went public on the stock market in May 1997, at a time when the Internet El Dorado was in its final hours. A man who thinks big. Jeff Bezos does not expect to make a profit for at least 5 years because he wants to develop and establish his infrastructure above all. The decision is causing an outcry among shareholders who are counting on quick money. But the future billionaire is standing up to them. He firmly believes in his vision. Even the bursting of the bubble at the beginning of the second millennium does not shake his certainty. While hundreds of companies go bankrupt, Bezos continues to believe in Amazon and stays the course. The target of much mockery and criticism, he has felt before the others the bounce coming. The businessman knows that sooner or later, the internet will be an actor essential to the economic life of an innovative company successful. A global empire. He who is on the verge of becoming the richest man in the world was right to persist. The crisis has hit Amazon hard, but the company is still standing. Better still, it's growing. The online bookstore has diversified to become the largest big supermarket on the web. You can find everything or almost everything: DVD, video games, household appliances, childcare articles, clothing. Bezos has even opened a marketplace to further expand its offer. It is pursuing an ambitious goal that every item sold on the web will eventually have to transit through Amazon. In order to achieve this titanic project, the company is making investments that are tailor-made for it. All profits made are systematically reinvested in the machine. The company is buying up the transport infrastructure of promising small startups and is also entering the market for personal data and its systems, just like Google. The creation of Bezos is gradually turning into a sprawling giant with a foot in key areas such as robotics, researcher services. Among the innovations that enable it to further strengthen its position are Amazon Prime in 2004 and Amazon and Andorran Pesetas in 2007. If its CEO is an insatiable competitor of victories, his greatest success is undoubtedly in 2008 when he dethroned Bill Gates without a seat for 24 years, becoming the richest man in the world with a fortune estimated at $160 million. A real consecration for the man who gave himself shape and soul to his company. How did Jeff Bezos become the richest man in the world? In the face of such success, it is legitimate to ask how Jeff Bezos was able to achieve his goal and, above all, what lessons can be learned by all those who have the same aspirations as him. Many people claim that the rich were born into a privileged environment. If it is true that his adoptive father is an engineer, one cannot say that he was born in a privileged environment. That Jeff Bezos grew up in utter opulence. He is not a son whose success is due to his ancestry. Is this businessman's extraordinary intelligence to blame for his meteoric rise? Without a doubt, his IQ has undeniably helped Jeff Bezos build his empire. But intelligence alone doesn't explain everything. It can even be disabling in some cases because of the gap it produces between people with high potential and others. Here's what really allowed the Amazon boss to transform the company into a global leader. A good idea and the global success anticipated the market trend. Like most successful entrepreneurs, Jeff Bezos has know-how to anticipate a trend. He understood early on the potential of the internet and how new technologies could revolutionize commerce. He took the risk of leaving a comfortable job to give life to a project that he was one of the only ones to understand. Having a long-term vision. At the time of the internet bubble, the man who became the richest man in the world could have given in to the temptation of the short term. He could have taken advantage of Amazon's stock market listing to try to get rapid growth in order to sell quickly to pocket a large sum of money. Bezos was able to resist the temptation because he knew that his company could generate much more profit in the long run. Great businessmen always have a vision that goes beyond the present moment. Diversify to grow. Amazon didn't just sell books. Its founder quickly realized that diversification was essential to the growth of the company. And force as many people as possible to call on them for a one way or another. Rather than reap his profits, he preferred to reinvest them systematically to go further and further while optimizing its tax system. A strategy that makes the largest supermarket on the web a key player in e-commerce, but also in innovation. Seeing bigger and bigger. Another ingredient in Jeff Bezos' dazzling success is that he never considered his company a finished project. He's always looking for new ideas and new ways of doing things. Strategies for its further development. As he likes to say at Amazon, every day, from day one. Advancing despite the criticism. Since its launch, Amazon has had to face numerous attacks, both from its competitors or those who take a dim view of its monopoly, and from its own investors. Jeff Bezos has always managed to maintain the cape without ever dismantling itself or allowing itself to be overwhelmed by the pressure, while taking care of its communication in order to protect its brand image. Another characteristic shared by successful people like Steve Jobs or the creator of Facebook. With a fortune estimated at $138 billion, Jeff Bezos became the richest man in the world, styling Bill Gates' hair. A long-time title holder, this businessman with extraordinary intelligence was able to detect very early on the potential of the internet. Endowed with boundless ambition and iron will, he has taken Amazon from an online bookstore to a global e-commerce giant. A beautiful lesson of courage, willpower, and financial genius from which you can draw inspiration without moderation. If you liked this video, please share, comment, and especially subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you soon for the next video.